Get this 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.
The lookalikes are still coming in for Richard Marsland. Brian reckons he looks like Robert Palmer.
I don't mind that.
That's a beauty.
Craig says he looks like a young Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker
Not
from
bad.
Star Wars.
Bad, yeah.
It's a pre-car crash, Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
Okay.
PC.
You want to come up with one yourself, just go to the website. How many photos are there of Richard now there?
Plenty.
Just you've got to go exploring. Mm-hmm. And still...
Look at that. Look at the balcony. And the balcony's hanging over the panel a little bit today, Rich. Or is that jumper?
It's mostly jumper.
He's claiming that's jumper.
A lot of calls for
Jumper.
John Ritter. People still saying he looks like John Ritter. Hey, maybe you could have played... the fake John Ritter in the telly movie of Behind the Scenes on Three's Company that went out, I think, on Channel 7 or one of the networks midday.
Right.
You've got to keep an eye on that midday movie.
Looking good, actually.
John Ritter would be perfect if he was still alive. I think I've mentioned this before for the Bill Hicks movie.
Or the John Ritter story, perhaps. You're quite right about Bill Hicks.
Yep.
Yes, very true. I liked this week on the midday movie, Cecilia pointed out they were running that Australian movie where Dennis Hopper plays Frank Sinatra.
The night they called it a day.
How weird is that? And he sort of does, I think he's miming to real Sinatra songs.
Yes, he is.
There's that brilliant, although David Field as Bob Hawke, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good bit of
But
casting.
wouldn't it be good if Dennis Hopper had to do the Sinatra songs himself? Lending a creepy edge to, I've got you under my skin, man. In spite of a warning voice that comes in the night, repeats in my ear, man. It's a pretty creepy song when you do it, Dennis Hopper. Don't you know, little fool, you can't win.
Don't look at me when you
Use your mentality, man. Under my skin.
Get off your chair.
It's a very creepy song when you Dennis Hopper it up.
Yeah.
I'm just padding
I
because
feel like
I'm
there's something in the
enjoyed that
crawl
immensely.
space now. It's going to grab me.
I'm worried that we're not going to have enough gear for this because Ivor Biggin, that's right, one of our listeners wants us to do accidental public nudity. Now, I've never... Oh, please. I've never been involved in any myself, although I did appear on Thank God You're Here in a rather ill-advised superhero costume. That's as close as I've got. Ed Cavalier, accidental public nudity?
Not from me, but... However, the street that I've just moved into is known for its, how do you clean this up, Rich?
Ladies of the night.
Thank you very much.
Trawling the streets outside your window.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen of the night trawling the streets.
Something for everybody.
And the other day I was on my bike riding to work. It's
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning, mind you, or something around that time. It's closer to 9. And as I rode past, there was 2 people engaged in an act in the front seat of a car.
Really?
And I saw them, and they saw me.
Yeah.
And what the bloke did to try and cover it up, he just put his hand up to his phone as if just taking a call, mate. Nah, it's not what it looks like. She's looking for something she lost under the pedals, and I've got business calls to make, mate. So nothing bad going on here.
So this is a great piece of advice. If you're caught doing anything dodgy, just pretend you're on the phone.
Yeah. Oh, mate, look, I'd love to stay and get busted, but I really got to take this.
Like a Telstra Christmas party or something.
Absolutely. So there's one. And now another quick one I want to mention. My ex-flatmate, John, good friend of mine, we went to the TAB on the weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
That's a joy factory. Anyway, we were in there, and as we walked out, I said, John, the arse of your jeans has been worn away, and you're now sporting chaps down the street. And he said,
No, it's all right. When I'm sitting down and mostly I'm facing people from the front.
This guy, we've got to get him back in
he's
here.
the best.
He needs his own segment.
So that's what I'm going for. So much arse hanging out. Britney Spears type cheek hanging out below. Unbelievable.
Bit of undercheek. Mr. Marsland, accidental public nudity.
Okay, we had some relatives staying over with us from the United States, and they were staying over during a heat wave. It was very hot, and we had no air conditioning. So then I heard the phone ring. I went up to get the phone. I was naked. I said, hello, is anyone home? Hello? Hello, can someone answer the phone? No one was home. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was doing shift work. So I woke from my slumber, walked down the hallway, naked to pick up the phone. And I walked in, and halfway through the phone call, I turned around, and there's my uncle from the United States who was deaf. So he couldn't hear the phone. He couldn't hear me yelling down the hallway. I've walked on in, been busted. Yes, completely naked.
Gave him a little hamburger, and then off you went.
Not giving yourself the horn there, Rich.
Oh,
Sure.
sorry.
Okay. Triple M, we're up Talkback Mountain. We're looking for examples of accidental public nudity.
That's the best one. That's my favourite horn.
And just to show you how seriously we take this show, I've written down a conversation I heard off air between Ed and Richard. Richard, horns for all these stories, you reckon? Ed, Horns if it's Norgs, stiffies if it's Wang. Richard, I don't want to burn the stiffies, though. You see how seriously we take the wacky sound effects in here?
It's a very fine science.
Can I say very quickly before we meet the callers, Nikki and I had a conversation off air about when we have both decided that the funniest thing in the world is some C&B work on someone's head in a billboard, especially if they're smiling.
Okay.
What about if the CMB has some fluid coming from?
Probably
Brilliant.
not. Probably not for
Brilliant.
our billboards.
No, I
Brilliant.
wouldn't suggest.
Wouldn't suggest that for us.
Quickly go and C&B all our billboards right
No,
now.
no.
They'll be
CNB.
so happy with us in Brisbane. Let's meet the callers who have been accidentally nude.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Well, this is going back several years. We were driving around one of Sydney's local beaches doing brown eyes out the window, as you do when
Sure.
you're in your early 20s at university. And one of the gentlemen in the back seat unfortunately got his arse caught between the top of the window and the bottom of the roof when the driver put the power windows up.
Fantastic.
The reason why the windows didn't get put down was because everybody in the front was laughing too much to find the buttons again.
Yeah, job for the jaws of life, I think.
And how long was he left hanging?
Oh, it was a good minute or so while we're up nailing the car up and down, I will say, Cronulla's beaches.
Brilliant. Do you think C&B on the heads of those on billboards, especially if they're smiling, is hilarious?
I'll be responsible here and say no.
Okay, thank you. We're going to
Wow, see?
take a poll of the listeners. Thank you, Michael.
Fine for the brown eyes at high speed, but drawing the line at C&B on a billboard. Who's next?
Richard, how are you?
Mate, I was up in at Wet and Wild Water Park, you know, the big joint up in Queensland.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Well, decided we're going to sit down and have a bit of a bite to eat, and it's right at the bottom of one of the big water slides. There's a big splash pool next to sort of the decking with the chairs and everything.
Yep.
We're sitting there having a bit of a drink, and this rather buxom young lady decided she'd go head first down the water slide.
Yes.
I thought, oh, this is going to go badly. Anyway, she's jumped on, she's come flying down to the bottom, she stood up, and there was just a standing ovation from about 10 blokes. And she's looked around and can't understand what the problem is. Like a lifeguard or something
Yes.
has kind of tapped her on the shoulder and said, your bikini's just under the water there.
Oh, yes. And is it hard to book a seat now at the bottom of that water slide?
Oh, I think it is, mate. I think she needed a couple of Warwick Kappa's footballs, I think, after that.
Beautiful.
Richard, just quickly,
Yes, mate.
C&B on the heads of those on billboards, yes or no?
Oh, yeah, why not?
Yes. One vote for yes, one for no.
Okay.
Don't forget to go to Wet and Wild. And, fair enough.
It's a brilliant place.
It's wet and wild. It's not just wet.
No.
People like it wild. Who's next?
Hi, John. How are you?
Accidental from my part, but I got jacked in front of the grandstand of the MotoGP one year by my mate.
John, were you facing the grandstand at the time?
I had back to the grandstand, fortunately, but there was still a number of people in front that got the sniggers.
Yes, and a few motorcyclists would have lost concentration, I'm sure.
All right, John, to the real topic. C&B on the heads of those on a billboard, yes or no?
Mandatory.
Absolutely.
Mandatory.
Absolutely right.
All right. Who else is accidentally nude?
Hello, Pete. How are you?
Good, thanks, boys. How's yourself?
Excellent. What happened, sir?
Yeah, one morning there was a car accident out the front of my house, so I got up and pulled the old PJs on and ran downstairs and was having a bit of a look and getting some weird looks from everyone that was looking at the car crash, and looked down and had the morning glory sticking out of the slit of the PJs.
Well, there you go. It's just alleviating the carnage.
Well, yeah, it looked like I was excited about the car crash, I suppose.
Oh, no. That's
Actually got another one for you too, boys.
Have you just? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
if
do.
we've got another one. I'll just check.
Come on,
Yeah,
Pete.
what's that?
Hit us.
Oh, me and the wife were staying at, Sheridan on the Park there at Elizabeth Street in Sydney.
Yeah.
Right.
Lovely.
It was an anniversary type deal, and we're up against the glass window. We thought there was a one-way window where the people in the park couldn't see us, but we could see them. And we were having a bit of fun up against the glass window, and went for a walk in the park next morning and realised you could see straight through the window.
Oh, what a popular park that is now.
Wonder why there was a crowd there.
And, all right, Pete, quickly. Billboard C&B, yes or no?
You could get a bit more creative than a C&B, I think, on your billboard. Maybe turning the whole head into a C&B, not just putting it on the head.
Well, what a challenge for our Queensland listeners. Sorry about this, Queensland Triple M. I know they're not going to be very happy with us, but technically, it is promotion.
It is.
We welcome now Tom Gleisner.
To lift the tone. Hello, Tony, Ed,
Tom.
Richard, how are you?
Have you been involved in accidental public nudity?
No, sadly, it was very deliberate. I think you may have been there. I appeared nude in a D-Generation sketch with Michael Veitch.
Yes, it was the cockfighting sketch.
And you're probably thinking, Ed, that it must have had 2 levels to it.
I was thinking that.
It didn't.
Really?
What you're thinking is what you got.
I think I may have left that off the DVD just for your own.
Thank you. There was another moment when did we do the Cobram Indoor Cricket Club singing great songs of Australia? Do you
Yeah,
remember
that was
one?
at Channel 7 in 20 years ago.
Okay, and we had one scene we all had to remove our trousers and pose towards the camera.
Yeah.
And we had to do about 17 takes because of Jason Stevens.
Yes.
Butt cheeks could not be sufficiently, how do I say this, aligned. So as not to cause grave offence to the viewers.
Wow.
Normally, I won't get too
There was
anatomical.
There was a bit of brown eye work, and it all had to be synced up with the phrase "all coppers are constables." So it was a very complicated sketch, very complicated piece of comedy, and of course, that man with the misaligned buttocks, now a respected TV producer, film producer, made that thing the king.
Wow.
Stephen Curry.
Hey, when I arrived a little over 10 minutes ago, I was asked to take a seat in the green room.
Really? We have a green room
Well,
here?
this is my question, Tony. At what point does a couch and a lamp on a milk crate become a green room?
When did we get a milk crate? Well, things are looking good.
When did we get walls? It's just a green corridor.
It
That's all
used
that
to
is.
be that kind of reception area, and it's been rebadged. Now,
We're constantly rebadging or repositioning the brand. As
oh,
they,
you've done that.
that means everyone on your show's been sacked. You're repositioning the brand.
Been repositioned. So anyway, I spent quite a few minutes
Yes.
reclining in the green room.
And I hope he didn't touch the milk crate. It is
Another-
heritage.
It is. It's all there.
What about Peter Costello?
Well, he's gone a bit nuts, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Have you followed this? He's had a dinner.
Yeah.
And who hasn't had a few drinks and been surrounded by a couple of journos and thought, yeah, I'm going to impress them, bit of big, tough talk. And you could just imagine him leaning forward with a glass of Chardonnay going, if John Howard doesn't step down by...
What year is it?
What is it now? 4 years from now, I'm going to be that angry. No, sorry, make it 5 years. 5 years. It's pathetic. It's April 2006 he gave this deadline.
Yes.
It was like, a year and a half in advance. That's not a threat.
No, it's not really, is it?
Yeah, I'm going to punch you in the face next Tuesday.
Yeah. Have you got a window?
Yes, exactly. Let's see what we can do. That is not a threat.
No.
No.
But meanwhile, all the journalists have run off and written it down. We'll keep that as a
Yeah.
bombshell. But meanwhile, things are imploding down there at Liberal headquarters because Wilson Tuckey sent a fax to the wrong people. He sent a fax questioning John Howard's leadership. He claims I don't know who he's supposed to be sending it to, and apparently it's gone. How can you send a fax to the wrong person? Emails I can understand. We've all done that. We've all hit
hit
the
the wrong
reply all, and then
Absolutely.
had to get one of those. Those immediately followed up apologetic emails. I just sent a joke that might be construed as in poor taste by some people. Those ones where it's too late, it's gone.
You are that guy.
Yeah,
It's on the website.
Who got the fax?
Oh,
Who got
various
Tucky's
members. They were members of the Liberal Party, but basically not the people that Wilson felt.
No, CC'd it to everybody. But who's your favourite nutbag MP? You've got Tucky, you've got Katter,
Yes.
you've got Lightfoot.
Oh, yeah.
And then people say, I can't imagine Warwick Capper in office. Have a look at the company.
Tone it down a bit.
Perfectly done. Will Warwick ever have to wear the mayoral robes, like with the full chain and gown?
I'm glad you brought
the
this up,
crux
Mr.
of our
Gleisner.
plan. We're saying the full meter-maid gear that he's normally wearing, but with a sash with mayor written on it.
Nice.
I've got a new idea. Just a string, modesty football, and the mayoral robes. Hey?
It's a crowd pleaser. It's the Gold Coast.
Or a copy of the DVD just hanging over the area, so he's promoting it and promoting his mayoral reign.
Tommy G had not even got in the door of our studio when he was asking me if Mark Jacko Jackson had made good on his promise to send us the trailer for Yobbos Up the Guts. Have you been following this story?
Oh, absolutely. And you claim you've actually seen some evidence of a film being made?
Jacko did send us something. We've got, this will be great. There'll be clips of go for the show. Put it on, Ed. And we fire up the DVD and baffling experimental cinema.
That's not what you want.
It was like a trailer for Zabriskie Point or something.
See, I was thinking it was more along the lines. I remember that Stefan Dennis, didn't he make some sort of bad Aussie kind of ochre movie?
Did he?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Stephen
Well, no,
Dennis?
is he a director? Have I got a Neighbours actor by...
I think Stephen Dennis, yeah.
Neighbours actor. No,
I think he played
forget
a
him.
hunky mechanic for a few years.
Who are you thinking of?
Oh, no, he plays Paul Robinson. He's
Paul Robinson,
He's
thank you.
one-legged on there. That's what he's the
He's
one-legged
never made a
Paul
bad
Robinson.
Australian film. He's just made Neighbours. But
Oh,
no, there
come
was,
on. Who are you
no,
thinking
there
of?
was a couple of years ago, and it was all these Stone the Flamin' Crows. It was set in the outback.
Welcome to Whoop.
Welcome to
what was Stephen Elliott?
Stephen Elliott. That's what I said, Stephen.
Yeah,
Somebody.
that was pretty dodgy.
That's what I assumed Yobbo's Up the Guts was going to be heading towards.
No, you're talking about an $8.5 million film there. Welcome to Whoop Whoop.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a film made by a bunch of blokes who are touring the outback with a stand-up comedy tour, and when they've got some spare time, they're making a film. And how would you describe the footage we saw?
Okay, well,
It was bizarre. It was like, you know that videotape in The Ring? Where it's
yes,
just
it was like that.
one bizarre image after the other. Warwick Capper as a marionette for some reason.
That's when they lost me. They lost me at Warwick the Marionette.
Bill Hunter just yelling into people's faces like it's some David Lynch deal. Tom, you've been on a publicity tour, have you not?
I have. We do this with Thank God You're Here most seasons, so sort of midway through. We like to get around the country instead of just staying at home. So I've been visiting all the capital cities pretty much, which is great. They're so enormously grateful to see people. Have you been to? Would we go to Perth with this show?
No, the show doesn't go to Perth. Podcast certainly does.
Okay, well, Perth is the ultimate. They honestly, I think they'll occasionally get a housemate from Big Brother, and that's
That's big stuff.
that's big. That's it.
big.
They'll base a telethon around that appearance. So really, when you step off the plane in Perth, you are so welcome.
I know it sounds kind of a bit like we're full of ourselves, but seriously, I went to Tasmania to promote something. They're going, oh, we haven't had anyone since Grant Dodwell.
And he's still here. Tassie's weird though. Tassie never quite. Even when I remember with the panel, we'd say, "Is the panel on in Tasmania?" I go, "Yeah, but we're about 3 weeks behind." It's a live show. How can it be 3 weeks behind?
And also, they don't have Channel 10. We just sort of have a hybrid of two channels. In fact, I think the panel and Burke's Backyard are one show.
Exactly,
We're
that's
talking
right.
in a garden somehow.
They've morphed them, but yeah. So in
Tom
Perth,
road testing Labradors on the desk.
that could work. That could work. In Perth, you're welcome. And as you always do when you're doing interviews, you go, look, how long have we got? Is just one break or the two? Oh, no, you're here for the week. Away we go. I go, no, actually, I don't know whether I can do that. The other beauty is sometimes when you can't get to places, you would have done this, Tony, with Bad Eggs, you sit in one radio studio, you're given a list of people that you're going to be talking to. So you might be talking to the wacky zoo in,
Sure.
in WA
They're
or
pretty
whatever.
good.
And I cannot do a breakfast shift anywhere where there's not a last-minute amendment. So, for example, I've got on my list here that I'm talking to the guys on Get This, and they'll go, okay, and of course that's Tony, Ed, and Richard. And then I'll always be, don't mention Richard. And you go, what? What? There's always the third person who's always dropped off. Yeah. Often the girl. Don't mention Susie. Why? I should just it's Liz today. What happened to...
We've had to take all the billboards down. We can't go into it.
It's always in the hands of the lawyer. She's no longer. She was doing traffic, but now she's not there. Don't mention it.
Personnel changes in
Always
radio.
good. Always. It's a hotbed. It's a volatile bed.
Did you do any of those shows where there's one in Queensland somewhere where they want you to do an hour, but they'll say all the songs we're going to play in the hour are going to be your favourite songs?
Yes.
And so I did the show and I go, right, so do I send you a list of my favourite songs? The guy goes, no, we'll choose them for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going, but how will I know what my songs are? And he goes, I'll just weave it seamlessly into the conversation. So you'll be talking about something and he'll go, yeah, well, it sounds like a great project, mate. Did you have much help? What do you mean help? Help? Well, it's one of your favourite songs. Here it is.
And then you have to clean up that mess. You have to take responsibility for having chosen a particularly bad 80s.
But you see they're going,
track.
help, okay, it's going to be the Beatles. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And then they're going, okay, yes, you went on Thank God You're Here. Yeah, you weren't too shy to go on. Hang on, you're not going to play Catch a Goo Goo. Stop. You're not going to say that's one of my 5 favourite songs. And, of course, they did. Look, we're going to talk about hobbies today. I don't think we've got up on the Get This Hobby horse. I didn't know we had one here.
You do. Hello, Nicola.
Hello.
Do you collect something?
Yes, I collect random playing cards just on the street.
Oh, hang on, so you'll find a playing card in the street and then just add it to your collection?
Yeah.
How many are you up to? 2, 3?
No. I see them all over the world. I travel for work.
Right.
So I've probably got about 40 or 50.
And is it so that you'll eventually be able to have a whole pack of cards? Wouldn't that be great?
No, I just put them like in a photo album. I think, oh, that's what I got in India, or that's where I found this, and it's really great.
Is there one that's more common than the others, Nicola?
Oh, just the plain blue ones or the black ones with like the diamond shapes on the back. They're pretty popular, yeah.
They're often left by serial killers.
Yeah,
they're a cryptic clue, so you might be interrupting some sort of murder spree there, Nicola. Be careful.
It's a great photo album.
Yeah.
That's when we went to India.
Yeah.
6 of spades. Beautiful. Who's got another hobby for us?
G'day, Matt.
My hobby is, the old Sega games, the old Sega systems, Master Systems, Mega Drives and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got just about every game for all those consoles, and I've just started on Nintendo as well.
Tell me something, Matt. Do you have... Oh, so you say you've started on Super Nintendo, have you?
Yeah, only just. In the last 6-12 months.
Have you got Super International Cricket?
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, I don't actually. Not yet.
A wonderful from the Beam range of Australian-made video games.
Yeah.
The Sega Mega Drive was great. Do you have Road Rash 3?
Road Rash. I've got all the Road Rashes.
It's a great game. Motorbikes.
Yeah, got all the NBA jams.
Ooh, yeah.
Wonder Boy, Bubble Bobble.
Ooh, Bubble
You name
Bobble.
it. Just about all the games for Sega.
Is there any, what's the jewel in the crown that you haven't obtained?
Honestly, I've just about got them all for Sega.
Okay.
Do you have James Pond?
James Pond? Never heard of it.
Ah, gotcha. There was James Pond and James Pond 2, which was a spy game with a fish dressed up in a tuxedo.
Right. We might leave
Never
you and
heard
Nat
of
in a
it.
chat room, I think.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, that's great.
See you on the forum, bro.
Hello to any women listening. So many controversies, but none bigger than Thundergate. That's right, the disappearance of the Triple M Black Thunders. Now, a lot of people aren't happy with this. I know you've been getting a lot of calls of condolence, Ed, as an ex-Thunder driver.
Yeah, and my heart goes out to all of my fellow promo guys out there who no longer can bear the scorn of the normal working man throughout their days. They hand them an icy cold bottle of Thorpe's water.
Hang on.
Thorpe's Tropical Blast.
What is in?
No, thank you.
What's in Thorpe's Tropical Blast?
Thorpe's Berry Surprise.
Wow.
More Thorpe in every bottle.
Okay. Why have they gone? Now, there's sort of I noticed the station is putting out press releases saying, it's because we're going for a different approach to promotions. That's not what it's about at all.
No.
There's been a lot of incidents,
Big
a lot
incidents.
of shameful incidents.
Actually, that reminds me. When we had Sanitarium Up and Goes, we drank so many Sanitarium Up and Goes at my house that we were backed up for months, Rich.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about.
It's really full on.
So many.
Don't drink 6 a day.
Shameful Black Thunder incidents. Richard Marsland was the man who finally broke the bank. He does a bit of thunder driving. Did you know that?
I did.
Gets out on the weekend, does a bit of thunder work.
I've never heard any of it, though, because I hear it's quite, well...
Exactly.
Yep.
It is very quite well.
Yep.
We've got a recording here of, this is the one, the straw that broke the camel's back. Richard Marsland's last go driving a Black Thunder. Have a listen to this.
Under Sheriff Tom Thrall races to catch up to a man who just tried to run him down at a roadblock.
Eat my dust, Under Sheriff. I'm the Black Thunder Sheriff.
The suspect is drunk. Very drunk.
If you want the Dean Geyer album, you can queue up like everybody else.
But the undersheriff stays right with him, even as he veers repeatedly onto the shoulder of the opposing lane.
All you're getting out of me, Under Sheriff, is an icy cold can of cock.
He tries to pass the suspect on the left, but he's blocked.
No one passes Ricky M. I'm taking this Black Thunder to Mexico. You dirty mongrel. Where I can legally marry all 4 of the promo chicks unconscious in the back.
Up ahead, a massive semi barrels toward the drunk and the pursuing officers.
Get off the road, BJ and the Bear. I'm Richard Marsland, and I'm chockers with free samples from the erectile dysfunction warehouse.
Moments later, he does it again, playing a sick game of chicken with another big rig.
You call that a truck? I'm a Farmers Union iced coffee-injected suicide machine.
So far, this drunk hasn't hit anyone or anything, but his luck is about to change.
Enough with the voiceovers. I've got diplomatic immunity from the People's Republic of Triple M.
At top speed, he demolishes a road sign.
I hate those billboards. My photo should be way bigger. Take that, Limo!
He fishtails back onto the pavement, completely completely out of control.
Oh no, my new emo fringe is severely impairing my vision.
He fishtails off the pavement, skids onto the grass, and flips over.
Oh, God, for the love of... Oh, Matthew McConaughey! Oh!
The driver has major injuries, but due to the quick rescue response, the man will
The
live.
finger bus is coming, and everybody's running from... You dirty mongrel! To Ibiza in the Mediterranean sun. Oh, yuck!
A very sorry ending to the era of the Black Thunders. I hope you're happy with yourself, Richard.
My apologies. Even in a fishtail, I can still utter the words Matthew McConaughey.
You've ruined it for everyone. Tony, how did a New Zealand cop get so close enough to Richard in America to say you dirty mongrel when he spewed?
And why is the Black Thunder in America? Too many unanswered questions. Kudos for Mr. Marsland.
Wow.
Brickbats for Cavalier.
What? What have I done?
Nims Azur says, hate to nitpick.
Oh, yeah, Nim.
When you did the topic of Technofair the other day in Talkback Mountain, it incorrectly and shockingly identified the music you were using as the Super Mario Brothers theme, when in fact, I think you'll find it's the Pac-Man theme from the game Pac-Man. Was sampled in the Bucker and Garcia song Pac-Man Fever in 1982. That's right. I think I'll point that out for no other reason than to give Pac-Man some mention on your show. Keep up the good work, Nims. Is Nims correct? Let's hear this sound. Have you got it there?
Is this the one?
Well, that's a bit of...
I never said that was that was Super
the end of
Mario.
it is pure Family Feud.
Yeah, sure.
Pure bruff. But the start of it is what's happening when Pac-Man's eaten a little thing, turned the tables on the ghosts, and is now chomping them.
Well, that's not Super Mario.
No, I never said it was.
Yes, you did.
No, I said the dun 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 da 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 da. That's what I
Super
said.
Mario.
That's what I said
That's
was Super Mario.
Well done, that is correct.
Thank you very much.
Reckon anyone's listening, do you think?
I'm now much bigger, and I've got a white hat on. I can throw little balls of flame at tortoises that might want to have a crack at me.
Yeah.
Hello to anyone playing the original Super Mario Brothers on a Nintendo Entertainment System circa 86.
Hello to anyone off there nuts who knows what he's talking about. What about this picture of Richard Marsden? Oh. Does that look like a picture of Richard Marsden to you? It looks like a hobbit.
Yeah, that's a hobbit.
That's definitely a hobbit.
That's Sean Astin in Lord of the Rings.
That's right. According to Ben Whitten, this is a massively good lookalike. It's probably already been said again and again. But Richard Marsland and Sean Astin of Lord of the Rings fame, I don't know. I mean, isn't he like the fat hobbit? What are you saying? I know Rich is very sensitive about his weight because there's a photo of him, even though he's the central figure in this photo, which is what he's been angling for a while. Oh, they put it on the back of the email.
Put it on the back.
That's what he's referring to.
I shouldn't have been smoking a pipe in that photo.
Now, that photo can be found where? That's somewhere on our website.
I think it's under podcasts.
No, it used to be under podcasts. It was offending people, so we moved it, I think, to...
Galleries?
It's such a labyrinth. Yes, it's the galleries page.
Yeah, triplem.com.au/get this. Go to galleries, and you can see Richard. Now, Richard, you've got a chin and then another one, and you're resting
It's a low angle. It's an unflattering angle.
And you're resting your arms
sort of on the
balcony,
on the
if you will.
on the shelf of fat of my tummy.
See, I don't think you're quite ready to carry Frodo to the top of Mount Doom, though, as a result.
Make out with him when you get there.
Must be so thin. I always thought Orlando Bloom, but no. Okay, Sean Astin.
But we have opened up the floodgates. Please send us lookalikes from Marsland, and we'll add them to the website.
Hey, I get this a bit. Jason Bateman.
Yeah, you look like Bateman.
That's lovely. That's really flattering. Is that okay? Or?
Rose Hancock, Rose Porteous. I reckon you look like Rose Porteous.
Emmett Walsh, I've heard a couple of times.
Charles Schultz.
Jack Warden.
Burt Ward.
All right, nobody's listening. Hey, who's the Batman villain today? I know you watch every morning. Who was it?
Parker.
Still Ma Parker.
No. It was a two-parter. This was the best plan they've ever come up with. She took over the prison.
Yeah.
And so she was robbing places.
This is on Foxtel, by the way.
And she was already in prison when Batman went to get her, and she was like, whatever, Batman. Good try, brother. And then she recruited Catwoman. Because the weird thing was, at Gotham City Penitentiary, it's a yard full of men who have been in there for years.
Yeah.
Now, we know it can get a bit cabin feverish in there, Rich.
Yeah.
You know as well as I do that men turn to each other in these times.
Sure.
And in the middle of it, and in the middle of this is Catwoman looking hot. It's a fairly poor decision by the warden to leave her in there.
And in the exercise yard, is it just all costumed supervillains with slightly frayed round the edges costumes?
That's exactly what it was.
Just riddling each other and sort of saying, that's a very spectacular hat.
Trying to gas each other.
Mr. Milliner, or who was the hat one? The
Milner.
It wasn't the Milliner. That wouldn't have been a bad guy. Who was the one who was obsessed
The bookworm.
No, not the bookworm.
The Mad Hatter?
The Mad Hatter. Not the Milliner. I'm the Milliner. Nobody knows what you're talking about. You work in a mill? It's confusing. All right, Mad Hatter then.
All right, if I must.
I love the idea that they're all in prison still in the costumes.
Oh, yeah.
But they are. I'm telling you, I saw them there together.
The thumbs up to Ma Parker's daughter.
She's hot.
Yeah.
Legs,
I know.
even by today's standards.
Yes.
Even by today's
by
front stack standards.
By today's standards, today's pneumatically fake-looking airbrush standards.
Because you know when you look back at like classic beauties and you're like, ooh.
Like the Catwoman. She didn't have any help from the airbrushes at Zoo. She had to fend for herself, I'll have you know.
She was hot. But when they say, who's that one in All About Eve? Betty Davis?
Yeah, nobody ever said that Betty Davis was hot.
Jean Harlow, perhaps, is a good example. That
Catherine Hepburn.
Not really hot. Nobody
Never
said
hot.
that. Jean Tierney, very hot.
Not hot.
Lawrence Tierney.
Not so hot.
Yep.
Who's the one in To Catch a Thief?
Grace Kelly.
Nah.
A bit too glacial.
Grace
No
Kelly?
dice.
Glacial.
Stunning.
Distant.
Yeah.
Moody.
Yeah.
Went off a cliff eventually. All right. Now we've lost everybody. We were talking on the show yesterday about, Peter Costello at that dinner.
Oh, yes.
And he's promised this and he said that and he might do that. Could happen in 3 years from now. And now it's all exploded in his face.
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thought telling journalists that something was going to happen? I don't know if it was going to get out. I'm with Peter.
I mean, imagine if you were held to those kind of standards, Ed, because you're constantly promising things to journalists, to us around the studios. Do any of them ever come
Ladies?
true? Well, that's a whole segment in itself. That's a whole separate segment. You know, the crap night out, the power ballad, the rain dance exhibition, the booty bank challenge. I guess you've
I've done the booty bank.
sort of got a prize for it. None of it legal.
Power ballad's a good idea. That hasn't gone away.
It was a great idea in March when you floated it. Dave Graney contributed lyrics.
Yeah, I didn't understand because he wrote things in a meter and I didn't know what that meant.
Something musical.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying is,
You can't be held to these things. I can't be held to this stuff, Tone.
that you said ages ago. And can Peter Costello, well, this is an interview that I taped with him. Check this out.
Mr. Costello, these three journalists all seem to have very specific recollections of your...
The thing is, Kerry, it's all speculation.
Right.
Someone's heard, a couple of blokes talking to a barman in a pub somewhere, and they put two and two together, and before you know it, they're talking about a meeting, that happened supposedly on, I don't know, the 5th of March 2005.
Right.
Where apparently the Prime Minister left the room. And I told everyone, oh, look, he's a dud. He's a loser. There's absolutely no way he can win the next election. I mean, look, he's a doddering old fool. He's spouting nonsense. He's got no idea about the fundamentals of sound fiscal policy, Kerry.
Right.
No idea at all. He's a shot bird. I should be running the party. I should be Prime Minister. I should be. I should be, Kerry. That's what I should be. The Prime Minister. Prime Minister Peter Costello. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why would I say something like that?
Right. Well, they do have notes, these three.
Look, Kerry, what sort of credibility can we attach to the identical recollections of three journalists at a restaurant with me spouting off about how the Prime Minister's a dud and how we should bone him and how I should be running things? I really should be running things, Kerry. Who's going to believe that I ever said something like that? It's absurd.
Yes, but the notes that they've taken, they've said...
Well, we've all heard things, haven't we, Kerry?
Well...
I've heard that Kevin Rudd's a baby broker, but I don't see you doing a special on that.
Mr. Costello, that's irrelevant. These journalists...
Look,
have
it's
all...
hearsay.
No, go with me. These journalists...
So, okay, we're meant to sit back and suddenly believe the testimony of these three idiots who are suggesting that I was claiming that there's no way John Howard can win the next election. I mean, the figures are disastrous, Kerry. Absolutely rock bottom.
Right.
I mean, the only way that we could possibly win is if, God forbid, someone suggested that maybe I could, take the top job.
Right.
We'd piss it in if I was running things. We really would, Kerry. I mean, think about it. The Costello government. It's an absurd suggestion to think that I would have said anything like that.
Well, be that as it
Look,
may,
Kerry,
Mr. Costello, but
I will say this. I am Peter Costello. I'm a Gemini, and I'm available to perform complex fiscal manoeuvres in your garage for $3,000.
well, no, thank you.
Yeah, well, take it or leave it, Kerry.
Mr. Treasurer, thanks for your time.
The Prime Minister is a dud. There's no way he can win the election. I should be running things. I should be in charge.
Sorry, is this something you're saying now?
No, that's another one of these ridiculous quotes.
Oh, right.
I mean, where are they getting this stuff from?
I know you've been trying to get us some sizzle. You've been out and about.
I've been rubbing shoulders.
Yeah, what have you done, Rich?
Robert De Niro's in the country.
I know.
He's coming to Australia and opening a couple of his restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
He's a famous restaurateur over in the US. And
That's right, yes.
I think also he's opened a couple in the European continent.
In the Seychelles,
Yep, he's opened them all over.
Micronesia.
And I went to the opening last night. It was great fun. Geez, that Robert De Niro, when it comes to his own restaurant, he really gets hands-on.
Look how many blueberries your muffin has and how many mine has. Yours is falling apart. I have nothing. What are you talking about? It's like everything else in this place. You don't do it yourself, it never gets done. From now on, I want you to put an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin. I don't care how long it takes. Put an equal amount in each muffin.
That's right. He's all about the muffins. And it's nice of Lee Dawson to drop in and play Working in a Coal Mine in the background.
Beautiful
Good
work.
on you, Rich.
Wouldn't say that.
Well, since we're talking Hollywood actors,
Yes.
let's talk Orlando Bloom.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. As we play a new game, Orlando Bloom or ... Now, unfortunately for you, Tony, the theme song for this segment is you singing Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, how does it go?
I'll get you started.
Yeah.
Just a small town boy.
In the style of Ig Cavalier?
No, in the...
Just a small town boy.
Keep going.
Don't stop. Something about tomorrow.
No, this is hopeless. Don't stop believing.
Taste the wild honey.
No. Just a city girl.
Just a city girl.
Born and raised in South Detroit.
Born and raised in South. Just repeating everything you're saying. This is your name. This isn't radio by anyone's standards.
That's poor, Tony. Poor. Well, we're in the segment now. So
we just?
Now we're going to have to wallow in it. The way this works is we play a sound effect and Tony and Richard have to guess whether it is Orlando Bloom or... Here's the first sound effect. Is that... Okay.
Oh.
Is that Orlando Bloom? Whenever you're ready, Rich, just cut it.
Is it
Orlando Bloom or a plate of fish in milk?
I'm going with fish and milk.
Incorrect.
What?
That's Orlando Bloom in The Calcium Kid. That was his big emotional scene. That's when he played a boxer. All right, Richard.
Hang on, it was somebody like tearing a plaster off your arm, interrupted by Blimpy the lactose intolerant cat, as far as I can see.
So now you need different sounds.
Yeah, I need a different sound.
All right.
A plopping sound.
This is not going to where, is it?
Okay,
Nicky?
Rich, you ready?
We're in a song at the moment, aren't we?
Okie doke. Rich.
Yes.
Play the sound. No. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, well, I guess, is that Orlando Bloom or a man with a swarm of killer bees punching a bucket of oatmeal?
It sounded to me like a man with a box of killer bees punching a bag of oatmeal.
Incorrect.
What do you
Orlando
know?
Bloom.
I'm shocked.
Orlando Bloom in Elizabethtown there. Final sound effect, Richard.
Okay.
And try and have some plops in that.
I'm plopping.
Just have one plop.
Okay.
That's all I asked. Find me some plops.
Yep.
I got bees. Bees. That's good. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Tony, away you go, Rich.
Okay.
Somebody step on a duck.
Is that Orlando Bloom or jelly being poured on a baby pig?
Surely that's jelly being poured on a presumably silent and mute baby pig.
Incorrect. That was Richard's audition for the role of McDreamy in Grey's Anatomy.
And that's it?
Outstanding.
All right, and now the closing for this, Tony, you'll be happy to know, is you singing the Jive Bunny Megamix.
Flowers, drifting by.
Get out of here. Can we have a song, please, Richard?
Get this, it's Blown Out to 2 hours, 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.